"She's only 5. Take me instead," the alien mother begged. Then the human appeared. Rain pounded the cracked streets of Neon Gutter, Obsidian Reach's forgotten underbelly, where neon flickered like a dying pulse. Cale Mercer slouched against a rusted wall, graphite trench coat slick, tactical gloves flexing as he scanned the alley. His scar, jagged across his cheek, itched under the stuttering glow of red and blue signs. Just a quick deal, some black market tech to flip for credits. Nothing heavy, but the air felt wrong, thick with something unspoken. A scream sliced through the storm. "She's only 5. Please, take me instead." Kyle's head whipped toward the sound. Down the alley, under a flickering light, an Aurelian woman, pale blue skin, silver hair plastered wet, shielded a small girl. Scifi, though he didn't know her yet, clutched her daughter Mina, her luminous eyes wide with terror. One of Baron Zirek's enforcers, a slab of muscle and armored plating, gripped Mina's arm. "Boss wants the kid," he growled. "Leverage!" Something snapped in Kyle, a buried spark flaring. His hand found the plasma blade at his belt, cool and steady. He moved, boots splashing, shadows swallowing his rugged frame. The enforcer turned, sneering. "Back off, Merc, or—" Kyle's blade hummed alive, a blue arc cutting the threat short. One strike, clean and brutal, and the thug crumpled into the mud, rain hissing on the wound. Silence fell, heavy as the downpour. Sierra stumbled back, pulling Mina tight, the girl's silver eyes huge, shimmering. You didn't—" Sierra's voice trembled, but she held it together, checking Mina for bruises. Cale sheathed the blade, glancing at the body. "Yeah, well, guess I did." Her story spilled out, hushed and urgent. She and Mina were running. Sierra had built security systems for Cyrek's empire, knew his dirty secrets, how he bled the slums dry. Now he wanted her silenced, using Mina as bait. Cale rubbed his scar, the weight sinking in. That thug's death, a neon sign screaming his name to Zirek, the six-limbed crime lord who ruled this pit. Orange-spotted, ruthless, Zirek crushed dissent like glass underfoot. Cale had dodged his shadow before, but now— "Great," he muttered, voice low. "Really stepped in it, didn't I?" A figure slinked from the dark, gray-skinned, lean, 4 eyes glinting. Nox Wren, smuggler, flashed a crooked smirk, rain beating on his wiry frame. "Well, well, hero, you just kicked the hornet's nest." He eyed Sierra, Mina, then Cale. "I can get you off this rock, all of you. But there's a price." His deal: steal the Aegis seed, some artifact Zyrek hoarded in his vault, deliver it, and he'd fly them free. Sierra froze, her eyes flickering. She knew that vault, biometric locks reading blood and bone, laser grids that'd slice you clean. Her old life under Zirek had burned every trap into her mind. It's suicide," she whispered, clutching Mina. But the girl whimpered, and Sierra's jaw tightened. "Okay, for her. We'll do it." Across the alley, a vendor crouched under his cart, heart hammering as he watched the scene unfold. The blades flash, the bodies fall. Zirek's enforcers would swarm Neon Gutter now, a storm of vengeance. "That fool! He's dead!" he hissed, pulling his cloak tight, knowing the slums would bleed for this. Kel led them through twisting alleys, rain cloaking their steps, to a safe house buried under scrap metal. Inside, a single bulb buzzed, casting shadows. Sierra set Mina on a worn cot, the girl curling up, her gentle features softening in sleep. Sierra's hands shook as she scratched a map of Zyrek's fortress on scrap paper. Corridors, traps, spikes that'd impale, gas that'd choke. This is the way in," she said, voice barely above the rain's drum. "One slip, and—" Cale studied the sketch, rain hammering the roof like a warning. His past flickered, civilians he couldn't save, their screams still sharp. "I failed them. Not this time." He pushed it down, focusing. "We hit fast. In. Out." Sierra's eyes met his. a fragile trust sparking. Knox lounged in the corner, smirking. Yeah, sure, piece of cake, right? The safe house felt smaller with each thunderclap, but it held. Neon gutter's light seeped through wall cracks, a reminder of Zirek's grip. Knox broke the quiet, chuckling. So, Merc, why stick your neck out? Could have walked. Kyle shrugged, staring at the rain. Some habits, they don't die easy. Sierra glanced up, her pale skin glowing faintly. Thank you. For her. Mina stirred, murmuring, and Sierra smoothed her hair. The map lay between them, their only shot at freedom. Kel traced the sketch, memorizing paths. The vault loomed in his mind, a steel heart pulsing with direct secrets. Sierra's tech sense, her Aurelian gift for hearing machine rhythms, was their edge. It's like a heartbeat, skipping, she said softly, fingers brushing the paper. Knox nodded, four eyes narrowing. Good, 'cause we'll need every trick. The vendor's whisper haunted Kale, a ghost of doubt. But Mina's face, small, innocent, locked him in. No backing out. The rain eased, but the tension didn't. Tomorrow they'd move. For now, the safe house cradled them, a flicker of defiance in Neon Gutter's dark. The night deepened, rain a soft lullaby as their plan took shape. Cal kept watch, blade ready. Sierra hummed to Mina, her voice a quiet anchor. Knox fiddled with a gadget, ever the opportunist. Outside, Neon Gutter slept, unaware of the spark kindling in its shadows. The safe house's dim bulb flickered as Kyle hunched over Sierra's sketch. The map's jagged lines a maze of death waiting in Zyrek's fortress. Rain still tapped the roof, so softer now, but the air inside felt tighter, charged with the weight of what lay ahead. Sierra sat across from him, her pale blue fingers tracing the map's edges, her luminous eyes distant yet sharp. Mina slept on the cot, her small chest rising and falling, oblivious to the storm brewing around her. Kale's scar twitched. He could still hear the vendor's whisper, "That fool, he's dead." He shook it off, focusing on the plan. "We move at dawn," he said, voice low, "before Zyrek's goons start sniffing around." Sierra nodded, her silver hair catching the light. "The vault's, it's a beast. Biometrics, lasers, pressure traps. I built half of it." She paused, fingers stilling. "But there's a flaw. The outer sensors. They skip a beat every 30 seconds. We can slip through." Her tech sense, that Aurelian knack for hearing machine rhythms, was their only shot. Cal leaned closer, memorizing the map's twists, corridors that turned sharp, vents rigged with spikes, a vault door that had scanned their blood and bone. 30 seconds, he muttered. Better be enough. Knox lounged by the door, his gray skin blending with the shadows, four eyes glinting as he tossed a pulse disruptor across the room. Kyle caught it, the device cold and compact, built to scramble security drones. "Don't trust me, Merc," Knox said, smirking. "But don't die either. I need you alive for my cut." Kyle turned the disruptor over, its faint hum promising chaos. "Yeah, sure. This thing better work." Knox's smirk widened, but his eyes flicked to Mina, a hint of something softer breaking through. Dawn broke gray, the rain a drizzle now, as they slipped into Neon Gutter's alleys. Kyle led, his trench coat blending with the gloom, plasma blade at his hip. Sierra carried Mina, whispering to keep her calm, while Knox trailed behind, his steps silent. The fortress loomed ahead, a steel and glass monstrosity piercing obsidian reach's skyline, its base crawling with Zyrek's enforcers. Kyle's training, years as a security officer before it all went wrong, kicked in, eyes scanning for patrol patterns. "2 guards, East Gate," he whispered into the comms. "Sierra, you ready?" Her voice crackled back, steady but taut. "I hear it. The rhythm's off. Now!" They moved, shadows among shadows. Sierra's tech sense guided them past the first sensor, its hum stuttering for exactly 30 seconds. Cal pressed against a wall, coat brushing cold steel, as a drone whirred overhead, its red eye blind to them. Inside, the fortress was a labyrinth. Corridors of polished metal, conduits glowing blue, air thick with the hum of power. Sierra's directions came soft through the comms. Left, then down. Watch the floor. Pressure plates. Kyle stepped light, boots silent, every nerve wired. Mina clung to Sierra, her silver eyes wide but quiet, sensing the danger. A patrol rounded the corner. 2 guards armored, energy, lances humming. Kyle reacted fast, a blur of motion, grappling the first guard's arm and twisting it back with a crack. The second lunged, but Sierra, quick despite her fear, jammed a rewired chip into a nearby camera port, killing the feed. Go, she hissed. Cal dropped the second guard with a precise elbow to the jaw, his old training sharp as ever. They dragged the bodies into a vent, hearts pounding. That was too close, Sierra whispered, clutching Mina. Cal grunted. Yeah, well, we're not done. They reached the vault chamber, a cavern of steel lined with glowing conduits, the air pulsing with energy. The Aegis seed sat on a pedestal, a fist-sized orb shimmering faintly, its surface etched with alien runes. Sierra froze, her tech sense flaring. It's not a weapon. It's alive, sustaining. Her voice shook with awe, sensing its power. Shields, energy, life for entire districts. Cal's eyes narrowed. Zyrex hoarding this? For what? Sierra shook her head, hands trembling as she worked the controls. The vault's core hummed, unlocking with a soft click, her fingers dancing over panels she'd once designed. They grabbed the seed, its warmth startling in Kale's gloved hand. But the chamber lit up red, alarms screaming, lights flashing. We're made, Kyle shouted, shoving the seed into his coat. Enforcers poured in, boots thundering. Kyle drew his plasma blade, its blue edge sparking as he met 2 guards head-on. A slash, a dodge, a bone-cracking kick. He bought Sierra time as she sprinted for the exit, Mina in her arms. The guards fell, but more came, lances blazing. Kyle took a grazing shot to the shoulder, pain flaring, but he pushed through, dragging Sierra into a side corridor. High above, a drone's cold sensors tracked them, its AI logging the chaos with detached precision. Intruders detected, efficiency critical, threat level maximum. Its feeds streamed a Zyrex command, red alerts painting the fortress. Kale's disruptor buzzed, scrambling the drone's signal just long enough for them to slip through another gate. But the corridor ended in the courtyard, and there Zarek waited, massive, orange-spotted, 6 limbs flexing with menace. Mina, held by one of his enforcers, cried out, and Sierra's face drained of color. Cyrek's voice rumbled, low and venomous. You dare steal from me? His eyes locked on Kyle. Then Sierra, as he gestured to Mina. You'll pay in blood. Cal gripped his blade, heart hammering, but they were surrounded, enforcers closing in, drones humming above. Sierra clutched the hidden seed, her tech sense picking up its faint pulse, like a heartbeat calling to her daughter. Nox was nowhere, his absence a gnawing question. Kyle stepped forward, voice steady despite the odds. Let the kid go, Zarek, or I start cutting. The courtyard's neon glow mixed with the rain's sheen, casting Zyrek's spotted hide in sharp relief. His laugh was a growl, promising pain. Sierra's eyes met Kale's, a silent plea. Save her. His scar burned, old failures clawing at him, but he stood firm. The seed's warmth lingered in his coat, a secret they couldn't lose. The fortress closed around them, a trap sprung, and somewhere in Neon Gutter the vendor's fear echoed. The slums would burn for this. But Cowell's resolve hardened. No turning back now. The fight was coming and they were in it together. Zarek loomed in the courtyard, his orange-spotted bulk casting a shadow that seemed to swallow the neon glow. His 6 limbs twitched, each one a threat, as he held court over Kill and Sierra, their wrists bound by humming energy cuffs. Mina, still in the grip of an enforcer, whimpered softly, her silver eyes darting to her mother. Zarek's voice rumbled like a storm about to break. You thought you could rob me? He leaned closer, his breath hot with menace. You'll fix this, or the kid pays. He offered a deal, sharp as a blade. Travel to Ravos, a dead mining world 3 light years out, and wipe out a rebel group he claimed stole from his empire. Refuse, and Mina's fate was sealed. Sierra's luminous eyes burned, defiance flaring, but she bit back her words, glancing at Mina. We'll do it, she said, voice steady but cracking at the edges. Kale stayed silent, his scar throbbing as he calculated their odds. Slim, at best. Zarek's deal was a leash, not a lifeline, but Mina's safety was the only currency that mattered. He gave a curt nod, his gaze locked on the enforcer holding the girl. "Let her breathe or we're not going anywhere," he growled. Zarek's laugh was a low rasp, but he waved a limb, and Mina was released to Sierra's arms. Nox reappeared, his 4 eyes glinting with that smug half-smile, leading them to his ship, the Starling. The battered freighter hummed in a hidden dock, its hull patched with mismatched plates. Inside, the air smelled of oil and static. Nox slid into the pilot's seat, tossing a grin over his shoulder. "Ravos, huh? Great spot for a vacation. If you like dust." His attempt at levity fell flat. Sierra clutched Mina, whispering soft reassurances, while Kyle checked his plasma blade, its edge still sharp from the fortress fight. The Starling groaned as it lifted off, neon gutters lights fading below, swallowed by obsidian reaches smog. Ravos loomed in the viewport hours later, a cracked, reddish ball of a planet, its surface scarred by abandoned mines. The Starling touched down near a canyon, dust swirling around rusted rigs half buried in the ground. Kyle stepped out, boots crunching, his coat snapping in the dry wind. Sierra followed, Mina's hand in hers, the girl's eyes wide but brave. Nox stayed by the ship, muttering about engine checks, though his gaze lingered on the horizon. The rebel outpost was carved into the canyon wall, a fortress of stone and scavenged steel, its entrance guarded by 2 figures with plasma rifles. Captain Arya Holt emerged, her short dark hair framing a sharp soldier's gaze. Her resistance group, maybe 50 strong, armed with patched-together weapons, watched warily. "You're Zyrek's dogs?" she asked, voice clipped, hand resting on her rifle. Cal bristled, but Sierra stepped forward, her tech sense picking up the hum of the outpost's defenses. "We're not his, not anymore." She explained their mission, the Aegis seed hidden in her coat, its faint pulse a secret they guarded. Arya's eyes softened, but her stance didn't. She led them inside where holomaps glowed on the rough tables, showing Zarek's network of control. "He lied," she said, voice hard. "We never stole from him. He's hoarding Aegis seeds, hundreds of them, keeping colonies like this one choking on dust and power outages." Sierra's breath caught, her fingers brushing the hidden seed. It's not a weapon, it's life. Shields, power, hope for districts like Neon Gutter." Arya nodded, her plan unfolding. Craft a fake seed to trick Zyrek, save Mina, and turn his own greed against him. Kale leaned against a wall, arms crossed, wrestling with ghosts. He'd failed civilians before. Whole families lost when he was too slow, too green. Arya's cause sounded noble, but he wasn't here for ideals. "I'm not your soldier, Holt. I'm here for the kid." His voice was gruff, but Arya's gaze held steady, seeing the cracks in his armor. "Fair enough," she said, "but you're in this now." From a rebel scout's perch on the canyon rim, Kale's sparring with a recruit drew eyes. The scout, a wiry kid with a scavenged scope, muttered to himself, "He's a killer, but no traitor. Might just save us all." Kyle's moves were precise, his blade a blur, but his eyes kept drifting to Mina, playing quietly with a broken holotoy. That kid was why he fought, not some grand rebellion. In a dusty workshop, Syrah worked with rebel techs, forging a fake Aegis seed from spare parts and glowing circuits. Her tech sense guided her, sensing the real seed's pulse in her pack. A faint, rhythmic hum, like it was calling to Mina. It's tied to her, somehow," she murmured, glancing at her daughter, who hummed softly, unaware. Arya watched, her mind on the slums back home, where people starved under Zyrek's boot. We pull this off, she said. An obsidian reach changes. Kale cleaned his blade, the metal cool under his gloves. Nox tinkered with the starling, tossing quips to ease the tension. Don't worry, Merc. I've flown worse odds. But Kale caught the smuggler's quick glance at Arya, a flicker of loyalty beneath the sarcasm. The fake seed took shape, its casing a near-perfect mimic of the real one's glow. Syrah's hands shook as she finished, her thoughts on Mina, on the fortress, waiting back on Obsidian Reach. The canyon's red dust swirled as they prepared to leave, the starling humming back to life. Kale's scar ached, a reminder of old debts. But Mina's small smile as she clung to Syrah steadied him. Arya's rebels armed up, their scavenged rifles gleaming with purpose. We're not just saving one kid, Arya said, her voice a quiet fire. We're breaking a chain. Kyle didn't reply, but his grip on the blade tightened. Ravos' desolation faded behind them as the starling roared skyward, carrying a plan as fragile as hope itself. The starling's engines growled as it sliced through the void, stars streaking past in a blur of light. Kyle stood in the cockpit, his graphite coat dusted with Ravos' red grit, eyes fixed on Obsidian Reach growing larger in the viewport. Syrah sat in the hold, recalibrating the fake Aegis seed, her pale blue fingers tweaking its casing to mimic the real one's faint glow. Mina curled beside her, clutching a hollow image of herself, her silver eyes flickering with trust. Syrah whispered, "Hold on, baby. Just a little longer." Her hands shook, the real seed hidden in her coat, its pulse a quiet hum only she could feel. Kel climbed to the ship's roof hatch, now a makeshift perch as they neared the city. Neon gutters skyline sprawled below, a tangle of flickering signs and smog-choked towers. Xerek's fortress loomed, its steel spires glinting like a predator's teeth. Kyle's scope picked out new security, young 12 drones patrolling in tight grids, their scanners sweeping every 15 seconds. "He's tightened the noose," Kyle muttered into the comms, his scar itching under the city's glow. Arya, beside him, checked her scavenged rifle. "We hit during his council meeting. He'll be distracted, bragging to his lieutenants." Nox at the controls chuckled dryly. "Got clearance codes, forged of course, don't ask how. Let's just say I know some folks who owe me." His four eyes flicked to the console, guiding the starling into a low-altitude approach, skimming neon gutters rooftops. Kale grunted, checking his plasma blade. The fake seed was their ticket in, but the real one, still warm in Syrah's coat, felt heavier with every mile. Her tech sense caught a faint anomaly in it, a pulse that seemed to quicken, like it knew Mina was near. They landed in a derelict hangar, the starling's hull blending with rusted wrecks. Cal led the way, boots silent on cracked pavement, his coat blending with the shadows. Syrah followed, Mina's hand in hers, while Arya and Nox brought up the rear. The fortress's outer gates hummed with power, but Nox's codes worked, parting the steel with a low groan. Inside, the air was cold, metallic, conduits glowing blue along the walls. Syrah's voice crackled through the comms, tense but steady. "Stick to the left corridor. Avoid the third panel. It's trapped." Cal nodded, stepping light, every sense sharp. Halfway through, elite guards, 3 of them, clad in sleek armor, sprang from a side passage, energy lances blazing. Kyle moved like a ghost, plasma blade flashing blue as he parried a strike, his scar stretching with a grimace. He dropped one guard with a swift slash, then tackled another, his fist cracking armor. Syrah, clutching Mina, rerouted a security panel's power, dimming the lights to cover their escape. "Go, go!" Kyle growled, taking down the third guard with a bone-jarring kick. Pain flared in his shoulder from the fortress fight, but he pushed through, dragging the team forward. From a guard's perspective, slumped against the wall, Cal was a blur of terror. "He's not human. He's a damn machine," the guard gasped before blacking out, his lance clattering. The fortress's alarm stayed silent. Syrah's tech sense kept them one step ahead, her fingers brushing the real seed, its pulse now a steady rhythm, like it was waking up. Mina, quiet but alert, clung to her mother, sensing the stakes without words. They reached the council chamber, a vast hall of glass and steel where Zurek held court. His lieutenants, alien and human, all sharp-edged, sat around a glowing table, their voices a low hum of deals and threats. Kale signaled Arya, who clutched the fake seed, its casing glinting convincingly. They stepped forward, presenting it like a trophy. Zurek's 6 limbs twitched, his orange-spotted skin catching the light as he leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "You think you can fool me?" His voice was a blade cutting through the room's tension. Syrah's heart raced, her tech sense screaming. The real seed's pulse was stronger now, almost calling to Mina, who stood hidden behind Arya. Cal's grip tightened on his blade, ready for the trap to spring. Nox lingered at the back, his smirk gone, 4 eyes scanning for an exit. Arya held her ground, voice steady. "Your rebels are dead, Zurek. Take your prize and let the kid go." But Cyrek's gaze lingered on the fake seed, suspicion curling his lips. He stood towering, and the chamber's doors sealed with a hiss. Syrah's breath caught. She felt Mina nearby, locked in a cell just beyond the chamber. The real seed's pulse quickened, syncing with her daughter's presence. A secret Zurek couldn't know. Kyle caught Syrah's eye, a silent vow. "We get her out." His scar burned, old failures clawing, but he shoved them down. The council chamber's neon glow pulsed, a heartbeat of its own, as Zurek's lieutenants rose, lances humming. "You've got one chance to walk away," Kale said, blade ready, voice a low growl. Zyrek's laugh echoed, promising chaos as the trap closed tight. The council chamber's glass walls shimmered with neon pulses, reflecting the tightening noose of Cyrek's lieutenants. Their energy lances hummed, a low, lethal buzz that filled the air with menace. Kyle stood firm, plasma blade glowing faintly in his grip, his scar taut under the strain of the moment. Syrah clutched the real Aegis seed in her coat, its pulse quickening like a heartbeat sensing danger. Arya, rifle ready, scanned the room, her sharp gaze steady despite the odds. Zyrek loomed at the center, his orange-spotted bulk dwarfing the glowing table. 6 limbs flexing as he snatched the fake seed from Arya's hand. With a snarl, he crushed it, shards scattering across the steel floor, the mimic glow winking out. His roar shook the chamber. "You dare mock me?" His eyes burned into Kale, Syrah, and Arya, promising pain. Kal stepped forward, blade raised, buying time with a taunt. "Not so smart, are you, big guy? When's the last time you checked your own vaults?" His voice was a low growl. The jab meant to sting, to crack Zurek's iron control. The crime lord's limbs twitched, a flicker of doubt crossing his face, but it vanished into fury. Syrah's tech sense buzzed, picking up flaws in the chamber's systems. Overloaded circuits, a security panel ripe for tampering. She darted to it, her pale blue hands moving fast, fingers dancing over controls she'd once designed for Zurek. "Got it," she whispered, disabling the lockdown with a soft click. Doors hissing open to reveal a corridor leading to Mina's cell. "Go now!" Kyle barked, parrying a lieutenant's lance, the clash sparking blue fire. The chamber erupted, lances fired, beams scorching the walls, glass cracking under stray shots. Kyle moved like a shadow, his blade slicing through one lieutenant's armor, then dodging another's strike with a roll that sent pain shooting through his shoulder. Arya covered Syrah, her rifle spitting precise plasma bolts, dropping a guard with a hit to the chest. "Keep moving," she shouted, her voice a steady anchor in the chaos. Nox hung back, playing the loyal smuggler, his 4 eyes glinting as he slipped Zurek a forged datapad. "Boss, intel says the rebels are dust," he said, smirk intact, voice smooth as oil. "All taken care of, right?" But his eyes flickered, guilt or maybe nerves, betraying the truth beneath his act. Zyrek snatched the pad, growling, distracted just long enough for Nox to melt into the shadows, his lean frame ready to shift the game. Arya tapped her comms, her voice low but urgent, signaling the rebels waiting in neon gutter's depths. Their response crackled through, a mix of grit and hope. "Tonight, we end this." Her fingers tightened on her rifle, eyes scanning for threats as she guarded Syrah's path. The corridor to Mina's cell was close, its steel walls humming with security fields. but Sira's hacks kept the alarms quiet. Kyle took down another lieutenant, his blade a blur, though a stray lance grazed his arm, searing pain flaring. He grunted, shoving it down. "Sira, how far?" "Almost there," she called, her tech sense guiding her through the fortress's rhythms. The real seed pulsed in her coat, its warmth growing, as if it knew Mina was near. They burst into the cell block, the air thick with static. Mina huddled in a small cage, her silver eyes lighting up. "Mom!" she cried, small hands gripping the bars. Sira's heart lurched, her fingers flying to hack the lock, the cage springing open. Mina ran to her, arms wrapping tight, but the reunion was cut short. A swarm of Zurek's personal drones, 20 strong, their red lasers slicing through steel, poured from ceiling vents, a deadly cloud closing in. Kyle dove, shielding Sira and Mina, his disruptor buzzing to scramble a few. "Stay down!" he roared, red beams cutting the air above them, scorching the walls. The swarm adapted, their AI recalibrating faster than the disruptor could keep up. Kale slashed one drone in half, sparks flying, but more came, relentless. Sira clutched Mina, shielding her as she whispered, "It's okay, baby. We're okay." From a cracked window in Neon Gutter, a slum dweller watched the fortress's chaos, its lights flickering wildly. His hands shook, gripping a rusted pipe, hope stirring in his chest. "They're fighting Zyrek. We might actually have a shot." He turned to his family, their faces gaunt but alive with whispers of rebellion, the slums buzzing with the promise of change. Sira pressed the real Aegis seed into Mina's hands, a desperate move. The orb flared brighter, its blue light surging, sinking with Mina's touch. The girl gasped, her Aurelian biology resonating with the seed's energy, revealing her as its living key. "It's warm," Mina whispered, her voice small but steady, brave beyond her years. The light pulsed, a heartbeat of power, and Sarah's tech sense confirmed it. The seed was alive, tied to her daughter in ways even Zyrek couldn't fathom. Zyrek stormed into the corridor, his massive frame filling the doorway, eyes locking on the glowing seed. "That power! It's mine!" He lunged, limbs outstretched, a tidal wave of fury. Cal tackled him, the impact like hitting a wall, one of Zyrek's limbs slamming into his chest. Pain exploded, ribs screaming. But Kyle rolled to his feet, blade sparking, holding the line. "Not today," he growled, blood trickling from a cut on his brow. Below, Area's rebels breached the fortress gates, their scavenged rifles clashing with Zyrek's enforcers in a storm of plasma and shouts. Slum dwellers joined, wielding pipes and tools, barricades rising in Neon Gutter streets. The uprising spread, comms alive with defiance. Knox reappeared, winking as he slipped past a distracted guard. "Time to flip, folks," he said, his smirk hiding a deeper loyalty. The seed's glow intensified, drones faltering in its light, and Kyle stood firm, his scar burning, but his resolve unbreakable. The tide was turning, and it wouldn't stop. Kel's vision swam, pain pulsing, but Mina's light held him steady. Sira shielded her daughter, her tech sense plotting their next move. Arya fired from cover, her shots cutting through the chaos. Zyrek's empire cracked, his lieutenants hesitating as the slums roared below, a rebellion ignited by a single spark. The corridor thrummed with the Aegis seed's radiant blue glow, its light pouring from Mina's small hands, casting jagged shadows across the fortress's scarred steel walls. The orb hummed, its energy weaving into Mina's Aurelian biology like a melody finding its rhythm. Her silver eyes widened, breath hitching as the glow intensified, a pulse of power syncing with her heartbeat. Sira, shielding her daughter, felt the seed's rhythm surge through her tech sense, a harmony unlike anything she'd known, alive and resonant. "Mina, it's you," she whispered, her voice cracking with awe, pale blue hands trembling as they steadied the girl. The light erupted, a blinding wave surging outward, forming a massive shield dome that enveloped Neon Gutter. The air vibrated, charged with life as the dome solidified, its blue sheen a defiant beacon against the fortress's chaos, stretching over the slums like a protective embrace. Xerex drones, 20 strong, their red lasers cutting like knives, faltered, beams scattering harmlessly against the shield, sparks raining down like dying embers. Neon gutters' crumbling power grid roared to life, streetlights flickering on, water purifiers humming in forgotten alleys, heaters sparking warmth into homes long gone cold. Kyle staggered to his feet, ribs screaming from Xyrex's earlier blow, his plasma blade sparking blue as he slashed a drone that buzzed too close. "Stay behind me," he growled, shielding Syra and Mina, his scar glistening with sweat and blood, pain etched into every line of his face. Xyrex enforcers froze, their lances dipping, faces lit by the dome's glow. A force they couldn't grasp, a power beyond their master's reach. Syrah's tech sense buzzed, unraveling the seed's secret. It wasn't just tech, it was alive, bound to Mina's unique biology, a key hidden in her blood that even Xyrek hadn't suspected. "She's the heart of it," Syrah murmured, her voice soft but certain, her hands guiding Mina's grip on the orb. The girl, small but unflinching, clutched the seed tighter, its light pulsing in time with her steady breaths. "I'm not scared, Mom. I want to help." Her words, quiet yet fierce, cut through the chaos, a spark of courage that anchored them all in the storm. Below, Arya rallied her rebels, their ranks swelling as Neon Gutters dwellers joined the fight, wielding pipes, wrenches, and scavenged tools. Barricades rose in the streets, the air thick with shouts and the crackle of plasma fire. "No more chains!" the crowd roared, their voices a raw tide, their scavenged rifles clashing with Xyrex enforcers in bursts of light and sound. Arya fired from a shattered doorway, her shots precise, her short dark hair plastered with sweat. Over the comms, her voice was a firebrand, unwavering. "Push forward, this is our moment." The shield dome glowed above, a symbol of salvation, fueling their defiance as the slums came alive with hope. Nox slipped through the fray, his smirk sharp as he dropped his smuggler's mask. "Told you I sell exits, not weapons," he said, four eyes glinting as he jammed a virus into Xyrex's comms network. "Been Arya's man all along, folks. Surprise!" Monitors flickered, going dark, drones stuttering midair as his code crippled the fortress's systems. His lean frame darted to a console, fingers flying to free trapped rebels, unlocking cells with a few deft strokes. The smuggler's grin hid a deeper loyalty, his quips a shield for the cause he'd served in secret. From a rebel's vantage, crouched behind a barricade of crates and steel, the shield's glow was a miracle. Plasma bolts screamed overhead, but the dome held, deflecting every shot, its light-bathing neon gutter in a promise of life. This is what we fought for," he whispered, voice breaking, hands trembling on his rifle. "We're not just dust anymore." The slums, long crushed under Xyrex's greed, stirred with new life. Lights blinking in shacks, families daring to hope for the first time in years. Eric charged again, his massive frame shaking the floor, eyes wild with fury at the seed's betrayal. "That power, it's mine!" His limbs swung like battering rams, aiming for Mina, but the shield's energy pulsed, a shockwave slamming him back. He crashed into a wall, orange-spotted hide scraping steel, his roar fading into a stunned snarl. Kyle stepped forward, blade raised, blood dripping from a cut on his brow, his body screaming but unyielding. "You don't touch her! Not now! Not ever!" His voice was raw, defiance forged in pain, a vow carved from his past failures. Arya's rebels pushed deeper, their momentum a tidal wave, the slums uprising, spilling into the fortress's lower halls. She broadcast Xyrex's crimes across Obsidian Reach, hoarding Aegis seeds, starving colonies, profiting on misery. The city's networks lit up, feeds flooding with outrage as dwellers saw the truth. "No one was born to kneel," Arya declared, her voice steady over the airwaves, a call to arms. "Tonight, we take back our breath." The slums roared, a city waking from despair, its voice echoing through every cracked street. The dome's light surged, stabilizing neon gutter systems. heaters warming homes, purifiers cleansing water, life returning to the forgotten. Sira held Mina close, the seed's glow reflecting in her luminous eyes, fear giving way to pride. Kyle, battered but standing, faced the faltering enforcers, his blade a steady threat. Nox's virus gutted the fortress's defenses, drones crashing in showers of sparks. The tide had turned, the shield a blazing symbol, its light cutting through the smog like a vow kept. The battle raged, but the end was close. Kel's vision blurred, pain pulsing through his ribs, but Mina's light held him firm. Sira's tech sense mapped their next move, her hands steady on the seat. Arya led the charge, her rebels a storm-breaking Zyrex grip as Neon Gutter's heart beat stronger, fueled by a child's courage and a city's awakening. The shield dome's blue glow bathed Neon Gutter, its light a steady pulse against the chaos of the fortress. Zyrex lieutenants faltered, their energy lances wavering as the tide turned. The slums roared below, a sea of voices, dwellers armed with pipes and scavenged rifles, their barricades holding strong against Zyrex enforcers. The crime lord's empire cracked, his once loyal lieutenants slipping away into the shadows, their loyalty crumbling like ash. Cassiel faced Zyrex in the corridor, his plasma blade humming, blood dripping from his brow, ribs screaming with every breath. The massive alien lunged, 6 limbs swinging with brutal force. But Kale dodged, his training a flicker of instinct through the pain. "You're done, Shrek!" he growled, parrying a blow that shook the steel floor. Sira worked fast, her pale blue hands flying over a nearby console, rerouting power to the shield dome. Her tech sense sang, the fortress's systems bending to her will, ensuring the dome held against Sirex's last-ditch drone assault. The seed in Mina's hands pulsed brighter, its energy stabilizing, the girl whispering softly to it, her small voice calming its rhythm. "It's okay. Keep shining," she murmured, her silver eyes steady, brave beyond her years. Sira glanced at her daughter, pride cutting through her fear, her tech sense locked on the seed's growing power. Aria's rebels surged through the fortress's lower halls, their scavenged rifles outmatching Shrek's disorganized enforcers. Plasma fire lit the air, shouts of defiance echoing as slum dwellers joined the fray, their makeshift weapons a testament to their will. Arya led from the front, her rifle barking precise shots, her voice a beacon over the comms. "We end this now. For the people." The shield dome above powered neon gutter systems, heaters warming homes, purifiers humming, lights banishing the dark. The slums, once broken, stood tall, their rebellion a fire that wouldn't die. Nox moved like a shadow, slipping through the chaos to free captured rebels from cells, his fingers deft on lock panels. He planted evidence of Zyrex crimes, data logs of hoarded Aegis seeds, starved colonies, rigged deals in public hubs, his 4 eyes glinting with satisfaction. "Guess I'm not just a pretty face, huh?" His smirk hid the weight of his work, each file a nail in Zyrex's coffin. The city's networks buzzed, outrage spreading as Arya's broadcast looped, exposing the crime lord's greed to Obsidian reaches millions. From a city official's high tower, watching the feeds, doubt crept in. The holoscreen glowed with evidence. Gyrex's deals, his stranglehold on the slums, his betrayal of the city. "If Gyrex falls, what happens to our deals?" the official muttered, his voice tight, fingers twitching as the upper city's ties to the crime lord unraveled. Neon Gutter's uprising was no longer a slum problem. It was a citywide reckoning, shaking the towers above. Kyle and Zyrex clashed, a brutal dance of strength and skill. Zyrex's limbs slammed down, cracking the floor, but Kyle weaved through, his blades slicing shallow cuts across the alien's hide. Pain seared his ribs, but he pushed forward, driven by Mina's glow, by the ghosts of those he'd failed before. A feint, a dodge, then a strike. Kale's blade caught Zyrex's arm, disarming one limb with a shower of sparks. The crime lord staggered, his orange-spotted skin paling, his roar more desperate now. "You can't stop me!" But the words rang hollow, his empire fracturing around him. Sierra's hacks locked the fortress's remaining drones, their red eyes dimming as they crashed. The shield dome glowed brighter, its energy flooding Neon Gutter, powering systems for 10,000 souls below. Dwellers wept, their homes lit, their water clean, their hope alive. Mina held the seed, its light steady, her small frame a pillar against the storm. Arya's rebels overran the last enforcers, their fire relentless, the fortress's halls falling silent, but for the echo of victory. Kale landed a final blow, his blade slashing across Zirek's chest, sending the crime lord crashing to his knees. His orange hide dulled, his limbs trembling as he gasped, defeated. Arya stepped forward, energy cuffs in hand, her voice cold and final. "You're under arrest, Zyrek. Your empire's over." She chained him, the cuffs humming as they locked. The city's networks flooding with calls for justice. The uprising unstoppable. The shield dome stood firm, a blue heart beating over Neon Gutter, its light a promise kept. Kel leaned against a wall, bloodied but standing, his scar a quiet reminder of battles past and won. Sierra held Mina close, the seed's glow softening, its work done for now. Nox grinned, tossing a quip. "Not bad for a day's work, yeah?" But his eyes held relief, a weight lifted. Arya surveyed the chaos, her rebels securing the fortress, the slums alive with hope below. The fight was won, but the work was just beginning. Kael's breath steadied, pain fading as he watched Mina, her small smile a light brighter than any shield. Sierra's tech sense hummed, ready for what came next. Arya's gaze turned outward, to the city and beyond, a new mission forming. Neon Gutter stood reborn, its people no longer shadows, their voices rising as one. The shield dome's blue glow softened over Neon Gutter, its pulse steady, a heartbeat sustaining 10,000 souls. Lights flickered in homes, water purifiers hummed, and warmth seeped into the slum's cracked streets, banishing the chill of despair. Zyrek, chained and broken, was hauled away by Arya's rebels, his orange-spotted bulk slumping under the weight of his fallen empire. The fortress stood quiet now, its steel halls scarred from the fight, a husk of the terror it once held. Kyle leaned against a shattered wall, his graphite coat torn, blood drying on his brow. His ribs ached, but the pain felt distant, overshadowed by Mina's small figure standing in the dome's light. The Aegis seed still glowing faintly in her hands. Arya approached, her sharp gaze softened, offering new identities. Clean slates for Kyle, Sierra, and Mina. "You're one of us now," she said, voice firm but warm. "The shield corridor needs you." The name carried weight, a vow to spread the seed's power to forgotten colonies. Sierra, holding Mina's hand, nodded, her luminous eyes steady. "We'll bring this hope to others," she said, her tech sense already humming with plans, sensing the seed's potential to save worlds. Mina looked up, her silver eyes bright, a quiet courage shining through. Kyle's scar twitched, old ghosts whispering. Civilians he couldn't save, lives lost to his mistakes. He pushed them down, his inner voice quiet but clear. "I couldn't save them then, but now I've got a shot." He glanced at Mina, her small smile cutting through the weight. "All right," he muttered, voice rough. "I'm in for the kid." Arya's nod held respect, a silent acknowledgement of the man beneath the mercenary. Nox, lounging nearby, grinned, his four eyes glinting as he tossed a quip. "Guess I'm not retiring yet, huh? Somebody's got to fly you do-gooders around." His smirk hid relief, the smuggler's mask gone, replaced by loyalty to a cause he'd always served. He kicked at a fallen drone, its red eye dark, and headed for the Starling, already prepping for their next run. The ship's patched hull gleamed under Neon Gutter's reborn lights, ready to carry them to the stars. Arya unrolled a holomap, its glow tracing a dying colony 3 light-years away, its atmosphere collapsing, its people choking on dust. "They need a seed," she said, her voice steady, a soldier's resolve tempered by care. We start there. Sierra's fingers brushed the real seed, now tucked safely in her coat, its pulse calm but alive. Her tech sense would guide their mission, mapping systems to bring life to broken worlds. Mina, clinging to her mother, whispered, "We'll help them, like we helped here." Her innocence carried a strength that silenced the room. The starling roared to life, lifting off through Obsidian Reach's neon-lit skyline, the shield dome glowing below like a beacon. From a slum child's perspective, peering from a cracked window, the ship's ascent was a wonder. "They saved us," the boy whispered, eyes wide, his voice soft with awe. "Maybe they'll save others too." His family gathered close, their home lit by the dome's power, hope replacing hunger in their faces. The Shield Corridor's mission took shape, a vow to carry Aegis seeds across the frontier, each activation a spark of renewal for worlds left to rot. Kale stood in the Starling's hold, watching Obsidian Reach shrink in the viewport, his blade sheathed but ready. Sierra worked at a console, her tech sense plotting their course, while Mina slept in her arms, the seeds glow a quiet promise. Knox's voice crackled from the cockpit, dry but warm. "Next stop, another hellhole. Buckle up, heroes." As stars streaked past, Kale looked at Mina, her small form curled against Sierra, and muttered, "Kid, you're gonna change everything." His scar felt lighter, the weight of old failures easing. The Starling hummed, carrying them toward a new horizon, where colonies waited for the light they'd bring. Neon Gutter's dome faded behind, but its glow lingered in their hearts, a testament to what a single act could spark. The stars stretched on, and their work had just begun. The Starling's engines thrummed, a steady beat against the void, as Kyle, Sierra, Mina, Aerea, and Nox faced the frontier together. The Aegis Seed's pulse echoed faintly, a reminder of the power they carried, not just in tech, but in the family they'd forged, ready to light the dark corners of the galaxy.